very much. Hi, Mikel. I hope you're well.
Hi.
Um, a general one to start, if I may. COVID has obviously reared its ugly head again, and I wondered what you made of the general situation and whether your mind has been taken back to March last year when you almost single-handedly brought the Premier League to an abrupt halt.
Well, I think we are all trying to refuse those thoughts because we know what it means. But the reality is that very quickly in the last week or so, things are happening, and we need to be alert of that. And we need to start to put some protocols in place again because we don't want to go back to where we were.
The game against Southampton obviously goes ahead. We've seen the injury news. Can you tell us anything more about Emile Smith-Rowe, whether he's likely to feature?
Well, Emil is trained today, and he was feeling much better after losing him for the last game, and hopefully he will be available to play.
And everything else looks pretty good, does it, for the game?
Yeah, the rest is okay.
What have you made of Southampton recently? They seem to be performing pretty well, but then losing leads quite regularly.
Yeah, Ralph and the team, it doesn't change much. They are really dynamic, aggressive, forward-thinking team, really aggressive in the high press, important team in transition because that's how they score goals and they create a lot of chances as well. So a very dangerous team.
Your goalkeeper's been in tremendous form, named Player of the Month for the club for a second time in a row. I was speaking to a couple of his old coaches a couple of weeks back who said that even as 19, 20 years old, he'd go into a new dressing room and within no time he'd be sort of running that dressing room. Could you tell us when you first noticed him make his presence felt at the club?
The day I spoke with him for the first time on the phone. That's when I realized that he had a special personality and that he was going to fit in really well with what we are trying to do and the way that we want our players to behave.
And just finally from me, I think he's won 2 in a row. Defenders have won Player of the Month awards quite recently as well. I imagine you're quite keen for some attackers to start winning those awards, aren't you?
Yeah, that would be good if the attackers are making us win football matches. That would be very welcome.
Thank you. Good luck
Thank you.
The weekend.
Thanks, Babas. Jeremy from Sky.
Yeah, hi Mikel.
Hi.
Just on the coronavirus, obviously Spurs and Brighton is off this weekend. But on the opening day of the season, you had a big coronavirus problem before Brentford. You had to play. So how do you feel about the Spurs game being called off now?
I think the decision has to be made first of all to protect the players and the environment. For me, this is the first thing, and afterward, obviously, we need to maintain certain criteria. So the clubs that are competing, we can all compete in the same conditions. That's it. But for me, the most important thing is health.
With the reintroduction of the emergency measures from the Premier League, though, what's your message to the Arsenal players, and how's it going to affect you going forward?
That we don't know, that we have to put all the protocols in place again, but the situation is very tricky because it's impossible to create a bubble around the training ground or the stadium when the whole world is open, because it's not about us, it's about the people we have around us, it's our kids, it's a lot of people that are connected to us that makes the situation really, really tricky.
Sure. Just after Everton and Mikel, some of the numbers for attacking play don't look so good. Goals scored and big chances created. You're in the bottom half on Premier League stats for those. How do you get out of this attacking crisis?
Practicing more and encouraging the players to take more risk, to put the ball more often in the box when we have opportunities to do that, to have more bodies there, and to start to score the chances and the big chances that we had, like the game against Everton.
And surely Auba's a big part of this, isn't he? How was he after being subbed on after Eddie on Monday night? Was there any problem about that? And is Southampton a match for Auba to come back to the fore?
No, but that's the players, and the substitution are always with the intention to improve the team and try to win the match, and that's all we try to do all the time.
You're confident that Auba can rediscover his best form?
It's all about patches, but every player has patches and moments. It's trying to make the big moments and the good moments and the form when a player is hitting goals, try to maintain it as long as possible and try to reduce the time when they don't.
We understand, Mikel, that Wijnaldum may be looking to come back to the Premier League next month. You're losing players to AFCON. If Wijnaldum was available, would you be interested in bringing back to the Premier League?
We're not going to discuss any player that is not an Arsenal player, sorry.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jeremy. George from the BBC.
Thanks, Mark. Mikel, I totally agree about how serious COVID is, but when you look back to your Brentford match and you said you were surprised, do you need more guidance as to what the current situation is when you compare it to Tottenham? And I'm not asking you as a rival manager, just as a Premier League manager. The two situations, how are they different?
No, I think the guidelines are clear. It's about the decision making that goes the same way for everybody, and this is what we have to hope for. And we know the context where we're going to be competing, and if there are certain things that you don't meet, then the game is off, and if you do, then the game is on. And we all know, and then it's a fair competition.
And when you look back, I mean, because Leicester have had problems this weekend with regards to COVID. I mean, that Arsenal Brentford match had a significant impact on your season, potentially, in terms of the start you had and points.
Well, that was hitting the first 3 games of the season for different reasons. But that's on the past. I think as well now you have more people vaccinated. We know much more about the situation, and we keep knowing more about the situation. That's done. There's nothing we can do about it, unfortunately.
Okay. And just in terms of your team at the moment, you must be very frustrated. You put them 4 runs together, and then now it's sort of 3 defeats and 4. So how do you feel? How the team feels? What's the current state of play with mentality at the moment?
Yeah, that after losing against Liverpool, we reacted really well and beat the game against Newcastle. I think we deserve to have much more against Manchester United. If it's not a win, at least a draw. And against Everton, even if we had periods where we punish ourselves, I don't think we had a game to lose either. So that's the thing. Increase the level of performances, and when we have those performances during matches, win the matches and close the games down.
Thanks so much. Good luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
Ian, TalkSport.
Thanks, Mark. Hi, Mikel. How are you?
I'm good.
Regarding COVID, a different question you haven't already been asked. Players that haven't already been vaccinated, have you had another word with them this week to maybe try and encourage them to get or has everybody at Arsenal been vaccinated?
No, we are very protected in terms of vaccines, and we are trying to protect them in terms of all the protocols that are in place, trying not to affect their lives completely, but as well knowing that it's going to be crucial to maintain the health of the team and the health of the environment here at Alconi and around the stadium as good as we can.
You mentioned that earlier about creating a bubble when the rest of the world is still carrying on around London Colney and the stadium. Do you foresee a situation whereby we might have to go back to either limited crowds or no crowds?
If we can maintain the health of everybody, hopefully not. And we don't want to see that happening again. I think we know that we're going to have to live with this virus and with us happening, with all the variants, probably for a long time. And let's try to do so. And I think we are all involved in football. We are willing to take that small risk, and it will be down to all the regulators and the government to see at what point this is okay to continue or not.
I asked you last week about Aubameyang's form, and was it a concern to you? Pretty much a similar question now. I mean, you need him really to start scoring goals. Is he lacking confidence?
Well, obviously, when a player is not scoring, it's affecting his confidence, affecting the mood, and probably the belief. But this is what you don't have to try to do. You have to reveal, again, this situation, don't accept it, and feel sorry for yourself.
And finally, what's the latest with Alexander Lacazette and his contract?
The same that every time that you guys ask me the question, nothing is changing.
Maybe you should meet him at the training ground on Monday at the entrance with a pen. Just get him to sign it, and then you won't have any problems.
Okay.
Nick,
Not that easy, no? Thank you.
Thank
Nick
you.
from Haters.
Hi, Mikel.
Hi.
Nice to sort of see you again. When we spoke about a week or so ago, before the Man United match and then before the Everton match, everyone in the room was saying, can Arsenal finish top 4 or even higher? And those 2 defeats have really seemed to have hit the club quite heavily. What's the fallout been like, especially since the Everton defeat?
Every time you lose a football match in this club, it's what happened, and I think it's what it should happen, because we are here to win every match. And when we lost 2 in a row, it's painful, and it's even more painful for me the way we lost those games, because of the trajectory that the team had and the results that we were having. And still in those 2 matches, I think we deserve much more than 2 defeats, for sure, against Manchester United, and looking the game back at Everton even more. But we haven't, so we have to manage and know how to win more matches.
Is that just a reflection of where the team is at the moment, or players playing badly, or do you think you made mistakes yourself?
It's a reality where we are. I don't know if it's a reflection, it's a reality, and a reality that we want to change, that we were able to change it, and now it's about doing it more and more consistently.
Everyone's been talking about the lack of goals and Auba and Laka not scoring enough, but is it also a case that the team needs to create more chances for them?
It's always a combination, and who creates the chances for them, if it's themselves, if it's the team, if it's the collective capacity to the team to arrive better in conditions to the final third, is the numbers in the box. We can look at everything. The reality is that we need more goals.
It almost seems like they seem to sort of want to protect a lead after going in front. Do you encourage them to push for that second and third goals, or do you encourage them to look after that lead?
Absolutely, and I don't think we did that. Sometimes team can change as well the way of playing after conceding a goal. We don't, and we go for the second one, the third one, and we're not going to change that.
Okay, just finally then, some people, certainly some fans, are saying Arsenal need to sign a new striker in January. Per Mertesacker said the other night that the solutions have to come within. Just making big signings all the time is an unsustainable option for Arsenal. How do you see the situation?
That what I always said, that what we have to do is better the players that we have, and this is what we can control, and this is our job.
Okay, good luck at Southampton.
Thank
Cheers.
you.
Thanks, Nick. James?
Good afternoon, Mikel. Just one on COVID. I think UEFA have a strict rule that if a club has 13 senior fit players, then the game goes ahead. But there doesn't seem to be the same sort of specificity in the Premier League. Are you saying that you want the Premier League to draw that line, to sort of say a clear number? If you've got that number, the game goes ahead. If you haven't, it doesn't.
I'm saying that would be really, really helpful, yes.
So at the moment, do you feel it's too subjective, it's too vague?
Well, I think it is, because you don't know when you have to play and when you don't, and we have some examples about that.
In analysing Monday night's game, Gary Neville suggested that there was a risk of your relationship with Aubameyang turning a little sour because you left him out. How would you describe your relationship with him?
I don't know. I have a very good relationship with my players, and because the first one thing that I have to understand is that I always do the best for the club and for the team. And after I can benefit any of the individuals, I will always do it. And the decisions are not personal. The decisions are just to get performance and the best out of the team, and that's it.
I mean, Neville also suggested that you might consider selling Aubameyang in January. Is that something you've thought of at all?
Obviously, we have never discussed something like this, and when players are under difficulty or the team is under difficulty, what we have to give is support.
And just finally, it's also been reported that Eddie Nketiah's rejected a new contract. Can you confirm whether that's true?
Well, Eddie has 6 months left in his contract, and we are having discussions with him and the agent to try to find the best possible way. Because Eddie knows how much I rate him, how much I like him, and I would like him to stay at the club.
Because the way it came out, it sounded like the talks were over and that was it. But it sounds like you're still fighting to keep him. You still think there's a chance.
Well, he's our player, and he's someone that we raised. They have the Arsenal DNA in his blood, and he loves the club so much. And his reason is that he wants to play more football, and that's a genuine reason. It's nothing to do with anything else. He wants more minutes. He feels that he's capable to contribute much more, and that's what I like him.
Is that obviously difficult to guarantee for any player, though, isn't it? I suppose?
Very difficult, but I understand that it is in that period in his career when after a long spell, after coming back and after being in and out of the team, that he feels that but that's the case. But at the same time, I have a strong feeling with him that he can really help the team.
Thank you. Good luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thanks, James. That ends the live section, so we'll come to newspaper section 10:30.